Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Thursday, July 13th. I just finished up trading for the morning. I locked in $777 in profits with 3 trades, 2 of them being winning trades and 1 of them being a small losing trade. In this video, we're going to talk about all 3 of these trades, explain my thought process behind them, so that hopefully you can learn something from my trading and apply it to your own. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first trade for me today was with the stock JZXN. As we can see, JZXN was gapping up this morning in pre-market. This is a very typical setup that I like to trade. If you've been watching these videos for a while, you know that I typically like to look for a gap and go when these stocks are having a nice gap up. And JZXN was no exception today. We saw that going into the market open, there was a little bit of support that was forming in pre-market right around the $4.20 area, all the way up to the $4.50 area. All throughout the pre-market session, as the stock pulled back into that price range, it has a nice bounce off of it, so those were key levels going into the market open. And then once we get this nice pullback at the market open into the mid fours, it once again starts to hold that area as support, curls back up, and then we get the opening range breakout above this $5.01 high. So if we draw that breakout level, what we can see happen then is that that breakout level starts to turn into a little bit of support. So those were kind of all of the key things that I was noticing as I was watching this stock move this morning. If we take a look at the Market Master group, we have the opening range breakout levels posted every single morning at the market open. And today we had JZXN, of course, with an opening range breakout level of $5.01. We had a few traders locking in quick profits on that breakout. And that is the same trade that I took on this stock as well. I bought 1,000 shares as it was breaking out above that opening range breakout level. And the way that I typically like to trade these setups, because they are so volatile and a lot of times they end up being false breakouts that come straight back down, I like to lock in very quick profits, at least on a portion of my position. So if I have 1,000 shares, a lot of times I'll quickly sell 500 of those shares up into, a recent high like we have here. And then I'll hold the rest of those shares to either rip up to new highs, pull back down to my stop loss, or to sell if the trade kind of starts to set up and look a little bit bearish. So that is exactly what I did in this case. I bought that opening range breakout, locked in a portion of my profits as it ripped up to the recent high. And then I saw that it was starting to consolidate here, form some lower highs on the 1-minute chart. Volume was starting to slow down a bit, and to me those were all signs that this was likely going to pull back underneath that opening range breakout level. So I locked in the rest of my profits during this consolidation period. I ended up with a total of $313 in profits on that trade. So that was a solid way to start the morning. It's been a while since we've had a really big gap and go or a really big opening range breakout, and that's just how the market conditions are currently. So it is important to quickly lock in some profits on these opening range breakouts if you're trading this setup. You can't allow yourself to get too greedy, and you have to keep in mind that these small profits can add up very nicely. Alright, all of that being said, the next trade for me today was KSCP. KSCP, if we look down here at the daily chart, has been a stock with a ton of upward momentum lately over the past couple of weeks. In fact, the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trading days have been green, and it's ran up well over 100% in that period of time, with volume climbing up as well. So that's kind of why this was on my radar. This was in the trade plans, I believe, a few days ago, and it had a really nice continuation from those trade plans. But today, it was starting to go red to green at the market open. In other words, it was starting to break above the previous day's closing price. I missed out on that initial red to green move. There was definitely an opportunity to scalp this as it was, bouncing from 135 all the way up to 175 or so. But again, I missed out on that trade, so I ended up buying back into this once it started to go red to green for the second time for the day. After this first pullback, I ended up with 3,500 shares, and I believe my average cost per share was right at about 167 per share. We can see it does move in my favor for a little bit. It pushes up to a high of $1.80. I unfortunately did not lock in any profits into that move. I was looking for this to push closer up towards this 193 extended hours high. So because of that, I ended up watching this winning trade turn into a small losing trade once it formed this lower high and it started to break down to new lows and pull back into the VWAP. I ended up taking a small loss of $103 on that trade. No big deal, of course, it just didn't have the follow through that I was looking for. Okay, moving on to the last trade. This was the biggest winner for me today. This was the stock RXRX. And quickly before we get into the price action from today, I want to cover the trade plans that were posted for RXRX overnight in the Market Master group. RXRX had a very big gap up the previous day. It had a big sell-off from that gap up in the morning, but it started to recover a bit in the afternoon, forming a few higher lows and having a relatively strong close at the end of the day. So what I was looking for was that this was going to continue to recover and continue to push up towards those pre-market highs after the market opened today. But using the volume profile, the $12.50 area was very significant. So ideally what I was looking for was that the price was going to rise above that a bit in the after hours or pre-market trading. And then at the market open, it would pull back into that area, bounce off of it, turning that past resistance into support, and then run up to $14 or higher. Okay, so that was the goal, and that's what I was ideally looking for, but obviously things don't always go 100% according to plans, so I had to make some adjustments. Because that $12.50 area from the previous day continued to act as resistance this morning in pre-market, and this started to then sell off at the market open, I changed the plans a bit and I posted an alert telling the traders that I was now looking for it to form a bit of a double bottom as it was pulling back under $11 per share, and that's where I took my first position in this trade. We see that we have this big sell-off here from about $11.20 straight down to $10.67 or so, and we can see there's pretty significant volume with that sell-off. It then consolidates a bit, forms a new low, but on this new low there is significantly less volume than the previous low. That tells us that the supply into these new lows is kind of slowing down a bit, the selling is a bit weaker, and the setup is starting to look promising for a bounce back up. So once it did start to bounce, I bought in at a price of $10.82, I believe. And this ended up being just a very quick scalp. I locked in profits as it pushed up towards the VWAP, and that's where a majority of my profits from this stock came from. I then actually rebought this once it started to break back above the VWAP later in the morning. Again, I picked up 1,000 shares into this VWAP breakout, and then I locked in very quick profits as it pushed back up into this $11.40 area. That was a pretty significant area of resistance this morning during its first sell-off. So I didn't have too much patience with this. I just locked in profits quickly into that area. And as we can see, it ended up continuing to climb higher and higher. It's currently up at $12 per share. So I definitely left some profits on the table with this one, but I ended up with $566 in profits on that trade, which brought my overall profits to the day up to $777. Alright, but those were my main focuses and my trades for the day. Hopefully you found some value in this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to hear about these stocks that I'm trading in real time, as well as work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our detailed trade plans, our live custom scanner streams, and so on and so forth. All of that is available to our Market Master group, so make sure to join us. There's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.